Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I am back with another video. Today's video is featuring the embossing folder kit and the clear stamps and die kits from Spellbinders for August. I have not loved a kit like this in a long time. Those flowers, stunning. But I often find myself getting stuck in a rut for picking my color combinations. So I had shared with you a few videos ago that I had picked up this paper pack. It's like a sampler pack from Spellbinders. And this one is called Wildflowers, and it's a lot of like muted colors, which is normally totally not my bag. But I was like, these are really pretty. So I decided to use the blue, green, like the sage green, mustard, apricot kind of color combination. I left out the rose. But I was really happy with the way that they came out, even though they aren't my normal color palette. And so I thought in today's video, we would talk a little bit about where to find card color combination inspiration, because I know that sometimes we all get a little stuck. So here, this is the embossing folder of the month. Super cute, very versatile. So I went ahead and embossed the blue, which is the partly cloudy, and then I like to give the back of my paper just a light little spritz so that I can get really deep embossing. This is not super well, it's not super thin, but it's not super thick. The white is my normal Nina 80 pound. Let me see if I can look here and see what the Spellbinders is. If it tells me, it's 100 pound. It does tell me. And so those both embossed really well. And then we're going to move on to the stamping of the floral, which is this floral net stunning. And they did something totally brilliant with the dies. I'll show you when we get there. But I am going to stamp this a total of 3 times, and then we are going to do some Copic coloring. So I stamped it 3 times because I'm making 2 cards, and one of the cards has like a border on the top and bottom. So I needed all 3 pieces. So I just inked this up. I'm using Intense Black ink from Hero Arts because it is safe to use with my alcohol markers. And I'm just going to stamp this down. I'm going to show you the one stamping. I'm going to spare you the other 2, and we're going to get right into the coloring. Now, let's talk about some housekeeping things. So Spellbinders actually announced today that they are having a buy one, get one sale. And that might sound like it's just on particular products, which might sound like it's a little bit limiting. However, when you go into the category, the buy one, get one is like 11 pages long. They have embossing folders, they have stamps, dies, some old well, not old, but like older club kits. So if there was one that you loved that you missed the opportunity to get on, they have those for sale. There's some glimmer stuff if you're into that. Just a really, really good sale. And I will link that below. That runs through August 20th. So you have 4 days to peruse, but obviously the sooner you shop, the better the opportunity for what you want to be in stock. So let's talk about the coloring. I chose the only combination that I have ever used before is the blue combination. Here I'm just checking that my greens match because I was having to use some colors that I never used before because I don't use muted colors. But that's actually really good because I have all of these markers that kind of just sit unused because I stick with the same color combinations. So this color combination was obviously inspired by a cardstock pack, but let's talk about some other places that we can find color inspiration. So these are my go-tos when I know that I want to mix it up, and then I'll give some other suggestions for maybe some different things that we wouldn't necessarily think of. So my go-to is Pinterest, and then I go into Pinterest and if I have a color like I know that I want to use, let's say I want to use purple, and I go in and I type purple purple and, or color combinations purple and then I just leave it blank. And then Pinterest kind of fills it in for me. It'll find a keyword of purple and then it will just pick other colors that go with it, which I really like because then there's not so much decision making on my part. And then I just scroll through until I find what I like. Let's talk about the florals here. These are drawn wonderfully. There is a lot of illustrative line work, not so much that the design is heavy, which I like. I like an open design, but definitely enough to guide your shading. So I'm going in, and this is the first time I've ever, there's a lot of firsts in this videos, guys. This is the first time I've ever found like a peachy apricot color combination that I actually liked. And because mostly they end up being too orange, but I swapped out my darkest color for a warmer brown and really, really like it. So I used an E17 as my darkest color. But you're going to go in, you're going to add shading along those lines that the illustrator has drawn. Any point where a petal is meeting another object, so where it meets the center, it'll have shading. And then any point where one is laying on top of the other. So if you have a petal that's on top of another petal, the bottom petal will have the shading. Now, because we're adding a little bit of shading to the centers as well as the edges, it's going to give the petals a much more round appearance and give them more dimension than just a flat wash of color, which I really like. It helps the petals, the flowers kind of pop off the page. And I super, super love this. So this particular flower, they're all going to be this kind of peachy apricot color because it's going to go on the blue background. And then I chose the mustard kind of combination to be the center of my flowers. I did show you these two here. And again, this little like bud, we're adding shading to the top as well as the base. And that's going to make it look much more round and full and dimensional, which is, I think, honestly, we're all trying to improve our coloring, myself included, because I certainly am not, at the level that some people are. I'm happy with where I am, and I'm happy at the stage in which I'm growing. And I hope that you are as well. Because we all do start somewhere. So Pinterest, type in color combinations, the color that you want, and let it fill it in. Love that option. The other one that I like that is kind of like my go-to is I enjoy looking at cards I've done in the past. This is another way too, like that I kind of get out of a rut if I feel like I've been doing the same techniques a lot. I will look at my past cards and find a color combination maybe I haven't used in a while. Another way that I like to pick, here I'm just double checking my blues because I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to die cut it out. And so I want it to blend in with my background. So I'm just going to go in with a blue that matches my background and just outline the entire thing. And you do want to go out just a little bit further because you're going to be die cutting it and you want to make sure you're not leaving any white. And then from here, we're going to move on to coloring the other flowers, which these I did as more of a mix. The background is going to be white. So I did blue flowers. I did some of those apricot colored ones, and then I did some mustard colored ones as well. Really liked the way this card came out because I love a white background and I feel like the colors just pop, just right off the page, and I love that. So back to the color combinations. Paper packs are always good. Like this one was just a plain cardstock pack, but I'm talking about like actual pattern paper packs are always a great inspiration. Another one that you might not always think of is like home decor or prints that you see. Those are, they're put together by somebody else who is a different kind of artist. So usually those color combinations can be really helpful. There's a lot of inspiration. I know a lot of people, not me so much because I wear my pajamas most days, now that I work for myself from home, but like fashion will give you a lot of really great color combinations to work with. So those are just some of the ways that you can find color inspiration in other things besides, just looking at the same combinations that you use all the time. I know that I'm a heavy user of pink and orange. In fact, I have a video that's coming up later this week where I used pink and orange. I tried to make them more fall-ish colored, but I couldn't get away from it. I was like, no, it's pink and orange. That makes the most sense. That's what I'm doing. But I did switch up the oranges just a little bit. So, and the pinks too, I guess. But yeah, so we don't feel bad. Like if you get stuck in a little color combo funk. Like, it happens to the best of us. And then I do cards like this, which is not my normal go-to. And I do enjoy, the certain aspects of it. And I think that it helps me creatively to view things a little bit differently using a more muted color palette. But ultimately, I know that I love bright colors, and that's where I'm going to be the happiest. Let's talk about these brilliant dies. So the dies for this are split into 2 pieces. Can you even? How smart. So you can cut out one side or the other or both of them. So for this one on the left, I'm going to butt the dies right up against each other, and then they will cut out the full piece, or you can use them to just cut borders, which I love. I love anything that's going to give me some versatility. So you'll see here at the bottom, what is the joint where they meet, the area where they meet, I can't think of the word, but that bottom area I taped. The top one at the top I didn't, and I don't know if that's the reason that it left just like this little smallest sliver of paper that it didn't cut through. I just went in with my scissors and just nipped it, and then the whole piece came out. So I'm not sure if I should have taped it so it had no wiggle room. But then here for these ones, I'm only going to cut out one side or the other using just the borders. And so then I will have the full like left or right hand side to pop up over my card base, which I really like. It gives me much more real estate to work with for my foam tapes. Here I'm just trying to decide like my orientations. And I wasn't even practicing it on the actual embossed background. So here now I have committed to my card layout, and I am going to pop these up on foam just because I'm doing a lot of white on white and I'm looking to try to make it a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to pop these up on foam and adhere both of them down and then just trim off the excess. It looks like there will be a lot of excess, but realistically, there really is not that much. And I did need the full 2 pieces in order to make the combination work. I couldn't have just used one side and then the other. I hope that makes sense. As far as life goes, I mean, it's been okay. Things have been going, like card making wise, things have been going really well. I've talked to you guys somewhat about my new website that is almost done. Now there's some things that I need to do on my part before it launches, and I haven't had any time. I haven't had any time to do those things. So I'm hoping here in the next couple of weeks to really nail that down so that when the website goes live, I have completed everything on my part to announce it. What else? I have the website. I am teaching at the Cozy Comfort Retreat for Altenew, and I have a coupon code for that as well. That one kind of blows my mind because you don't know, like they just send you an email and ask you if you want to teach, and I've taught for them before at other retreats, but you don't know who the other teachers are until like you start doing all of your things and submitting your class description and your photos and PDF and all of that stuff. And so I originally had made a card and I was like, this is just kind of meh. Like, it's okay, but I really feel like it could be more interesting. Here I am doing the sentiments. That's my test piece to figure out what color Copics I was going to use for my little apricot combination. And so the one up top, I'm just going to stamp in black on white. The one on the bottom, I'm going to stamp in white pigment ink and then heat emboss. And then I will die cut both of them out with their coordinating dies, which are part of their set for the clear Stampin' Die. So anyway, you don't know who any of the teachers are. And until you start submitting. So I did the card and it was like a little meh, and I was like, no, I want to make sure people really get their money's worth. You know, there's a whole kit, so it's a great deal. But like for the hour and a half that they're going to spend with me, because it's a live retreat that I'm teaching live, I really want them to, feel like they learned something. And so I was trying to fall asleep one night, I was like reworking the card in my head. And so I came up with something else that I think is really fun. And so I redid the card. Well, then I went to go I was late with my class description because we went on vacation, and I had already let them know, and they said that it was fine. And so I was one of the last people to put my class description in. And then I saw who all the other teachers were. Y'all, this class is Carissa Wiley, who is amazingly talented, Teresa Calvert, who's also amazingly talented, and then Christina Warner and Jennifer McGuire, and then me. Like, me. And I know I shouldn't feel that way, but I was like, oh, Jesus, thank you, I reworked that card. Like, thank you so much that I reworked that card. So that actually, I have a discount code for that. It takes $51 off of the price to enroll, and I will link that below as well as the Spellbinders sale. So there's some fun things with that. There is another friend of mine who hosts a retreat, and she reached out to me about maybe doing some in-person teaching, which I'm excited about. So we'll see. I'm not sure what the dates are or whether or not I'll be able to make that work. So maybe that's coming up too. Lots of fun, crafty stuff on the horizon. As far as my illustrations go, I do have a couple coming out in the next couple of months. One at the end of August, in fact. So excited to use those, use my own illustrations and stamps. So yeah, we're just chugging along, getting stuff done. So here I've adhered the sentiments down. I'm adding a little bit of glitter. This color pack it's Spellbinders. I think it's the crystal mix, and I really, really like this because one half of it is like these silvery white kind of crystals, and then the other half of it is like white. So I used the silvery white ones on the white card, and then I used the white ones on the blue card, and I didn't even have to switch my gem pack, which was amazing. So these are great. These are great little gem stickers as well. So then these are both cards. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I totally appreciate your time. I know that it is valuable, and I am grateful that you choose to spend it with me. I hope that you were inspired by something that you saw here today, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.